Through LinkedIn, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this light. It's a little bright, but we'll be good when you're ready.
All right, we'll just give it until 11 to get started here, Stan. That way we still have people filing in.
Say it again.
We'll just wait until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time before we get started.
Yeah, good. Perfect. No worries. Thanks.
Brilliant. All right, Stan, it is 11 a.m. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll read a brief introduction.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Barrett Boone with RedChip Companies. Thank you for joining today's event with American Noble Gas, which trades on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol AMNI. With us today, we have Stan Ross, Chairman and CEO of American Noble Gas. We will begin with a brief presentation in a moment, and then we'll open up the event for Q&A. I will keep everyone's lines muted throughout the presentation. If you wish to submit a question, please use the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom window. Now, before we begin, I need to read the Safe Harbor Statement. This call may contain forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. All statements pertaining to the future financial and/or operating results, along with other statements about future expectations, beliefs, goals, plans, or prospects expressed by management, constitute forward-looking statements. Any statements that are not historical fact should also be considered forward-looking statements. Of course, forward-looking statements involve risks and uncertainties. With that said, I will now turn the call over to Stan. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Barrett. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Give you guys a little bit of a background in regards to American Noble Gas. Originally, it was known and recognized as Infinity Energy Resources. That is a company that I actually started almost, I would say, 35 years ago. And we built it up to be one of the largest oil field service companies throughout the Midwest. We had properties that we were producing both oil and gas in Kansas, Wyoming, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, and a small amount over Missouri. But we built it up to be a real nice company. I was the founder and the CEO until June of 2005. And then I stepped down in June of 2005. It had about a $200 million market cap back then, traded on NASDAQ, good volume, good profitability, and was doing very well. Shortly thereafter, the CEO that was brought into place had went into a new region and tried to develop an area that was a little bit on the outskirts of the true core play. And he believed in it enough that he really leveraged the company very heavily. And so what happened is I got called back in to assist in making sure all the creditors got taken care of and got it wind back down to where at least some of the assets that were there were able to stay in place, and we were able to fight another fight, live another day. Since that time, I had went and was already engaged in another company, ended up taking it public. It's on NASDAQ, it trades as well. But at the same time, called in on some friends and favors to keep the American Noble Gas alive. Like I said, it used to be called Infinity. And then about, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, we started looking at the fact that oil prices being what they were, natural gas prices being what they were just very attractive. And so I essentially put the band back together and still doing a little work there to make that happen, which I'm very, very hopeful you'll see some news in the near term on the success of the band that we're putting back together. But we were able to go out and acquire 3 different properties. One is a little more of an exploratory property. It's in the Kansas Uplift. And what you're going to hear here is a common theme of Kansas properties right now. And a lot of that is because I also was the president of what's called ECOGA, which is Eastern Kansas Oil and Gas Association. So the 17 plus years I was at Infinity / American Noble Gas, I had a very strong industry, appearance and knowledge and know a lot of people in this region. So if I'm going to get back in the game, I'm going to go play a game that I know a lot about and not try to do anything stepping too far out. So we acquired this property in central Kansas, called the Kansas Uplift, and it's a little more of an exploratory play, but seems to have quite a bit of potential. Then we ran across a real nice opportunity in southern Kansas. It goes over into Oklahoma just a little bit, but this particular play was already producing about 150 barrels of oil a day, about 1,500 MCF a day. And we acquired it at the right time. And not only did it cash flow so well that the bank, and this is just traditional financing, nothing fancy about it, financed 80% of our acquisition. Pay down scheduled in tranches. We've already been through the first year and have it paid down. I think our monthly payments were 170 per month the first year. Now we're down to 110. And, so as we do that, obviously the cash flow becomes a lot greater, allowing us to drill additional holes as well and explore, continue to develop that property. We call that the Castelli lease. And so very excited about it. But I think the play that really has the majority of real big upside is out in the prolific Hugoton field. And those that know about the Hugoton field may realize that, it's was one of the largest gas fields in all of North America. It has been such for, 40, 50 years and has been well exploited. All the big boys have been out there and they've had a lot of success, but it's now at a point where a lot of people look at it as somewhat depleted. And depleted meaning that the pressure on these wells are now only around 15 pounds per square inch to where they used to be in the hundreds. And so the majority of the gas push is gone. And so now it's still producing gas, but let's call it trickling out. We had identified a couple of things that intrigued us on a particular block, and I mean a particular block, it's 400,000 acres. And we noticed that the developers at the time, which was, one of the majors, went out there and just was fine hitting all the home runs or at least triples. And they left behind quite a few singles and doubles. So we went in there and drilled our first well. Very good success. It came in at an excess of over 100 pounds per square inch and currently still around 85 pounds per square inch. So clearly a much stronger well than the existing wells that are out there and almost dominates the pipeline that it's going into because it's not allowing the other weaker wells to participate, which is not our problem. But the uniqueness about this is not only, we have a good wells producing good natural gas, but it also produces helium and liquids. And that is where a real bonus comes into play. Helium just continues to rise in pricing, whether it be wholesale or retail. And because of our relationship with the processing plant, meaning the gas plant that's out there that processes and does the stripping of the helium and the liquids from what we're producing, we were able to negotiate a deal that allows us to market our gas on the backside. So in other words, instead of having to sell to them at wholesale, we are very lucky that we're able to go ahead and sell it at retail. And to give you an idea of the difference in pricing, wholesale helium prices are going for almost $250 at MCF. Now that's 100 times higher almost than just the regular natural gas, but it's still a good price. But the retail and the price that we're able to negotiate there, we're getting $800 an MCF. So very significant improvement even on that. So now it's a situation where, okay, we got the pipelines, we got disposal wells, we got access to a plant, we've got the infrastructure necessary for us to start putting holes in the ground. We have brought on we're in negotiations to bring on a couple more individuals to really accelerate this. We've also got additional assets that potentially come with these potential candidates that we're bringing in, and would look to see a full-blown this summer, weather breaks and everything else, a tremendous amount of activity out there, and maybe some even in the spring, it being in Western Kansas and all. So very excited about those three opportunities. We continue to look at opportunities. We continue to have one in particular that looks extremely well. And, I won't elaborate on it, but it too has a let's just say a kicker, much like the helium. I'll consider that a kicker in regards to our natural gas field in the Hugoton. This has a kicker similar as benefits over and above just the natural gas that we believe that we'll be able to produce and sell. So exciting times. I'm glad that we kept Infinity alive. We've changed the name to American Noble Gas, ticker symbol AMNI. There's some information that RedChip can follow up and give you as well, as far as some fact sheets that may be very helpful. But I'm extremely excited that we kept it alive and these assets that we have now. And I'm looking forward to what the near future and all of 23 and beyond have in store for us. So, Barrett, that's a quick overview, and I'd love to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you. We are now going to open up the call for questions. Please submit your question using the Q&A tool at the bottom of your Zoom window. I see that we've already got 2 in queue here. Just a reminder, you can also raise your hand and I will allow you to speak. You just need to unmute yourself, and then you will be able to answer the question. So we have a question here. Do you expect the price of helium to stay high? It seems like natural gas and oil have been dropping from the warm winter.
Yeah, I mean, the helium has so many different applications, and finding helium is much more difficult than natural gas and or oil. And so if you're fortunate to find helium, and again, the Hugoton field is huge. I mean, the one block that we have is 400,000 acres. The guys that control that have 4 million acres under their control, which I believe, a very, very, very large percentage of all of that potentially could have the helium element in it as well. So if we continue to show them that what we're doing works, again, you got to remember, they're a midstream, so they're not doing E&P and trying to compete against us. They love sending gas to their facilities. That's what they want to do and handle that side of it. So we may be able to get a lot more ability to develop even much larger areas than sort of the 400,000 that we're drilling in right now. But helium is a lot harder to find than the natural gas and oil. So yes, I do anticipate. And then again, it's being used, as you see, more and more in rockets and medical. And I mean, there's just so many different applications that's coming into play.
All right. Thank you, Stan. We have another question here. Are you exploring new areas in your land for other potential minerals currently?
Yeah, so we're definitely doing infill drilling is what they would call it. So, areas where we already have tied up and are familiar with the likelihood of oil and or gas being there. It's just called infill drilling. We are going to continue to do that to bring up the volumes on both oil and gas. And also, that 400,000 acres, you got to get after it to drill a lot of that up. So we've got a lot on our plate, but we are definitely looking at other minerals that may be in some of the liquids that are being produced at some of these fields. And also we do have one in particular, really, really excited play that's in, within our backyard, let's say, that I'm hoping to get secure in the near future as well.
I'm currently not seeing any more questions in queue. We could give it 1 to 2 minutes for either somebody to raise their hand or type in a question. Just a reminder, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of the Zoom window to type in a question.
Barrett, if there's nothing coming, let me wrap up, and first, again, thank everybody. And I know that this will be recorded and can be shown to others, and others may have the ability to come in and take a look at it later on. And then always follow up with RedChip or try to reach out to me. RedChip's easier to get a hold of than I would be, but they can get questions to me, and I would definitely try to follow up at a later date. But again, I can't emphasize, and probably the takeaway from this is just the cash flow that the company is producing is significant in regards to what its market cap is. I haven't looked in the last few days, but I think the market cap's just over 2 million, and we're anticipating that our cash flow will exceed that here in 2023. And so, again, it's just one of those things. We got to finish our audit yet this year and get some more stuff out there, but we're excited about the future, and by just going out there and honestly doing a little blocking and tackling. We don't have to sit there and do anything, but as I said earlier, we can just hit the singles and doubles and have a very, very nice little company here. So I want to thank everybody for their time. Thank you, RedChip, for your time, Barrett. And like I said, anyone has any questions, find RedChip, and I'll try to answer them for you when I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. For more information on American Noble Gas, reach RedChip at 1-800-RedChip. You can also visit RedChip's landing page for American Noble Gas, AMNIinfo.com. There you can sign up for news alerts on American Noble Gas, as well as view and download the investor presentation and fact sheet. You may also visit American Noble Gas website, amnoblegas.com. Thanks again, participants. And once again, thank you, Stan.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.